I'm going to go ahead and get everyone checked in. And so I'm just going to go off the orientation of my screen. As I call your name, if you could just unmute and let me know who you're representing here today, whether you're a neighboring property owner or a someone associated with the project or the school, that would be great. So Jeff Grow.
Yes, that's me. I'm here representing the school.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
I see William Nickel.
Yes, that's me. I'm here. I'm the neighbor across the street from the project.
Okay, great. Welcome. I have a Lisa Cameron Gully.
Good morning. I'm also here on behalf of the school, parent, and a board member.
Okay, welcome. I have a Rosalie. Rosalie, if you could unmute, give me your last name and who you're representing here today. Rosalie, you are muted. There we go.
There we are. Thank you. My last name is Van Nuys, V-A-N space capital N-U-I-S.
Okay, great.
And I'm a neighbor down of the school.
Welcome. Sarah Rich.
Hi, I'm a school board member and parent and a neighbor.
Okay, welcome. And Sarah, it's Kuski, right?
Sarah Kuski, I'm the president of the Neighborhood Council, NANA, North Avondale Neighborhood Association.
Okay, thank you for being here and welcome back. Kate Meehan is our zoning plans examiner. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
All right. And finally, we have someone under Duncan H.J.
Yes, that's me. I'm a neighbor across the street from the school.
Sure. And can you give me your full name, please?
Heather Duncan, D-U-N-C-A-N.
Okay, great. On Mr. Grow, are you expecting anyone else to join us on the applicant owner side on this?
No.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we will jump into it. We have one more person trying to join us. I'm going to let that person in quickly. All right, so this is the, I'm going to read through our hearing script. It'll cover the procedure for the hearing. Not sure if I already said that, but this is the December 6th, 2023 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the City of Cincinnati. I'll be presiding over the hearing. Case for us today is case number ZH20230168. That's 33 Burton Woods. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. Anyone from the public will then have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. If the applicant is represented by an attorney, the applicant's attorney may cross-examine any person who has testified in this hearing. I will hear from the zoning department and Ms. Meehan to provide any testimony in addition to her staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony or documents. That's generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who is not present at the hearing today. In the event of any technical difficulties with the video conferencing technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you. So if that's you and you intend on providing some testimony here today, I'll need you to unmute now. I need all of those people to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, everyone. All right. Ms. Gully, were you raising your virtual hand for that, or did you have a question? Okay.
Sorry, Zoom did it on by itself.
Okay. All right. Before we get started, Mr. Rosen, is there a Mr. Rosen here, Matt Rosen? If so, if you could unmute.
Yes,
Mr. Rosen, do you intend on providing any testimony here today?
I was not intending on it.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right, Mr. Grow, are you ready to begin? Or I assume
Yes.
you'll be taking the lead here, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The floor is yours.
So in 2021, the New School Montessori was approached by our neighbors at 33 Burton Woods Lane to determine our interest in purchasing their property. And at that time, we were not interested, and they put their property on the market. And after several months with no interest or offers, the home on the property had significant structural issues as well as other costly needs. And the family reached back out. And at this time, the New School Montessori shared that if the owners would sell the property under the fair market value as a partial gift to the school, we'd be interested in transforming that property into a learning garden for our students. And with that understanding, the New School Montessori purchased the property. And in 2022, the house was raised and a volunteer group of parents, as well as staff, began plans for the space. And the intention for transforming the space into a learning garden was shared with neighbors through the North Avondale Neighborhood Association newsletter, as well as presenting at the North Avondale Neighborhood Association meeting. In addition to this, we held a Zoom meeting for neighbors and hand-delivered information to our neighbors along Burton Woods Lane. The New School Montessori Learning Garden strives to be a place where New School Montessori children, parents, grandparents, and teachers and volunteers engage with our natural world in a way that deepens Montessori learning through real-world experiences, promoting a love for our natural world and building community. In addition, the New School Montessori is committed to creating a beautiful natural environment that adds to the aesthetics of the neighborhood and promotes eco-friendly benefits such as pollinating gardens, fruit tree orchards, and native species. The intended use for the space is for students to gather for lessons, work in the garden, study flora and fauna, picnic, and appreciate nature. The space is not intended for a playground for students. Students and staff would occupy the space during our school hours and functions. In addition to this, we've reached out to neighbors that have provided some statements of support, including as a neighbor to the New School Montessori. I live on the same street. It is my belief that the use of the plot of land called the Learning Garden is a wonderful experience for the students at the new school. They'll teach and cultivate horticulture, going back to nature as they plant and care for the plot of land. The benefits are endless, from receiving the sense of pride in themselves for growing plants and food to sharing with others. This experience is something that the students will take with them beyond their years at the new school. And as a neighbor on Burton Woods, I also want to state that the Learning Garden is a great addition to our neighborhood, as it is a beautiful plot of land which is in keeping with the neighborhood park setting that this neighborhood offers. Another member of the Burton Woods Street said, "Thank you for letting me see a copy of the application of the New School Montessori for a conditional use permit for 33 Burton Woods Lane as a learning garden for the school students. I think it's a wonderful idea for the students and will beautify the block." Another resident on Burton Woods Lane shared that the work to create an attractive green space at 33 Burton Woods Lane has succeeded. It looks really nice. I hope the new school students will be able to use it for outdoor lessons and to work in it. Gardening, as many Montessori schools incorporate into their curriculum. I understand that it is not to be used as a playground space, but as a learning environment. Thanks also for your efforts to include and consider the street residents. Also included is another member from Burton Woods, sharing that as a homeowner on Burton Woods Lane and someone who walks a dog along our street several times a day, it gives me great pleasure to hear the sound of children holding lessons on the lawn in front of the new school or playing on the playground. I look forward to that youthful activity, chatter, and laughter spreading down the street and originating from the new school garden. As shared, we believe that the proposed project and requested conditional use approval is in the public interest and meets the applicable standards of Cincinnati Municipal Code sections 1445-05, 1445-13, 1445-19, and 1445-21 in the following manner. The application is for the use of a garden for educational use in conjunction with the adjacent existing property that the new school Montessori with an approved conditional educational use in place. The proposed educational use will allow for this parcel and garden to be used for educational purposes within school hours. Neither the educational use to date, nor the proposed project will have adverse impacts on the adjacent properties nor the immediate neighborhood. The proposed work conforms to the underlying zone district regulations and is in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Cincinnati zoning code for an educational use within a single family district as the existing approved conditional use as exhibited. The existing streets and access to the proposed development are suitable and adequate to carry the anticipated traffic and will not overload the adjacent streets as the existing approved conditional use has been exhibited, particularly since the proposed garden will not increase enrollment. The proposed project hours of operation and use are compatible with the existing surrounding neighborhood as the existing approved conditional use has exhibited. The proposed garden will not impart any adverse effects on property access by public services, nor access to light, air from adjoining properties, traffic conditions, or any future adjoining property development, usefulness, or value. The garden contributes to the avoidance of blight by enhancing the community with a garden on a previously blighted property. The proposed work will create additional value to the overall neighborhood surrounding community by providing beautification. In accordance to the Cincinnati Zoning Code 140305, the existing approved educational conditional use is specifically listed within the applicable SF10 zoning district as permitted upon review and approval by the zoning hearing examiner and conforms to the applicable requirements. The proposed work meets the applicable SF10 zoning district use regulations, and the garden's location, design, and configuration will not adversely impact the immediate neighborhood as the existing approved condition use has exhibited. And that's all.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Grow. Was there anyone else that wanted to speak on behalf of the school itself or as a representative of the school? I know that we had Ms. Gully and Ms. Rich, but are you speaking as individuals or neighbors in the neighborhood?
I am not a neighbor. I am a board member and parent, and also a design professional. So I'm here supporting the school.
Okay.
I'm not a neighbor.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So I'll come back to you and give you an opportunity when I go through the public. Mr. Grow, you talked a little bit about compatibility with the neighborhood. Could you talk a little bit more about why you believe that this is compatible with the neighborhood, and could you touch on, in particular, any potential adverse effects for neighboring property owners?
Sure. I also had a question. There's a neighbor who I believe has registered. His name is Ben Blaney. He's a neighbor immediately adjacent to the property. He's
That's
recently
35.
Yes, he just reached out to another administrative person here at the school, sharing that he felt like he did not get the link and was asking if he can come up into the office here and join the meeting. I don't know how to answer that question. I thought maybe you could give me some guidance on that.
He's in your building right now?
He would be walking up, is my understanding.
That would be nice if he could participate.
Okay, sure. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Good. But
sure.
Do you need to tell somebody that, or can you respond to my question first?
No, I can respond. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the garden, in terms of what I think would be positive impacts into the neighborhood would, the house had many structural issues to it. as well as other very costly repairs that need to be done to it. In terms of raising that home and opening up that property and transforming it into a native species pollinating garden, as well as fruit orchard trees, that it not only helps to the eco health of the community, but also has an aesthetics to it that I believe would be appealing to the neighborhood in terms of property value and in terms of just the neighbors that are currently living there. I would add that, the concern that I think a neighbor might have in terms of raising the property would be, creating a sense of a kind of gap in the layout of the homes, with one being down. It is immediately adjacent to our property and is looking, what we're trying to do to kind of combat that perception is creating a very cohesive flow of our campus that originates at our 33 Burton Woods mansion through our adjacent property, and then called our Ginkgo house, where our 4th through 6th graders are. Hi, Ben. Welcome. And seamlessly connecting into our 33 Burton Woods. I am turning my camera here. I had mentioned, Ben, that you didn't have the link and that you would be joining.
Right.
So Ben, I'll give you an opportunity in a few minutes to provide some testimony, but for now, just Mr. Groh, if you have anything else you wanted to say in response to my question or otherwise before we move to the public, now would be the time.
No, I think that covers it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. So, all right, I'm just going to go again based on the orientation of my screen. And so I will start as we move on to the public with Mr. Nickel. Mr. Nickel, if you could unmute, is there anything you'd like to tell me about the project?
Yeah, I guess I'm not opposed to this at this point. We are dealing with a fait accompli. The garden is there. Whether it's beautiful or not remains to be seen. It's present, a work in progress. This hearing should have happened a year ago before the raising of this house, of the residents. At that time, the public would have had some leverage in seeing what and understanding what the project was and whether it was a good idea or not. That house had substantial structural problems, but houses far worse than that have been rehabilitated in this neighborhood. As it stands, we've lost 29 Burton Woods Lane. The adjacent property has a residence. The time of the zoning variance for that, about 10 years ago, the school was granted a variance with the proviso that it would remain convertible back to a residence and look like a residence. That has not been accomplished, and now we've lost a second residential house. So the residential character of the neighborhood has been substantially reduced. This, as I said, this hearing should have happened before the demolition of the house. The school could have defended its decision, explained its plans, and etc. At this point, we're dealing with a fait accompli. Questions are whether the school has the resources and the competence to finish this project and then to maintain it for the indefinite future. And I'm doubtful of that myself, but I don't oppose this change. I think if they don't get the variance and can't use it, the chances that they continue to maintain it are much reduced. So that's my testimony.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Nickel. think I'm gonna go slightly out of order here and ask Ms. Meehan just a couple of table setting questions here. And so, Ms. Meehan, we're here today for conditional use approval to allow the school to use the property as a learning garden. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just as a matter of fact, did the school need any zoning permissions to demolish the home after they acquired it?
They would have needed to obtain a wrecking permit. I can tell you I did look into the permit system, and they did get the permit that they were supposed to. I don't believe there is a notification process unless you're in a historic district or urban design overlay to notify adjacent property owners of a demolition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And can the school, as the property owner, then take the vacant lot after the home was demolished and use it as a garden?
A garden is a permitted use in an SF10 zoning district.
Okay. So really the question is, can they allow the kids now, can they incorporate it into the school campus and allow the kids to use it?
Right. Would they be allowed to use it as a garden area and have children out there during the day working in the garden? Yes, that's
okay.
Again, it's expanding the conditional use, essentially.
Okay. Thanks, Ms. Meehan.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Ms. Gully. Ms. Gully, what would you like to add?
I would just like to add that while it was within the owner's legal right to demolish the building that was on the site, the notion that they would like to educate on the property is what we're here today to discuss. And as a parent and a board member, obviously I support that, and would be appreciative if we could gain that extra real estate in terms of the site to continue to educate children.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your testimony. Okay, I'll move on to Ms. Van Nuys and then to Ms. Rich.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay. I'm all in favor of what is proposed. I will comment that when the demolition of 33 Burton Woods Lane was proposed, there were meetings at Mr. Nichols and his wife, who's also on the call here, Heather Duncan's house, and there was a lot of discussion in the neighborhood. So it's not as if this just came up. It has been brought to the fore, and there was a lot of correspondence back and forth between Mr. Duncan and the city that we were all copied on. So I don't think it's really a due process issue. So I was one of the 4 comments that was read by Jeff Growe. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that. Okay, I'll move on to Ms. Rich, followed by Ms. Kuski.
I just wanted to say that, first of all, we did not seek out purchasing this. The owners came to us. So we felt like this was something that they supported. And secondly, I really agree with what Bill said about having children on the property during the school day will allow us to, spend a lot of time in that garden and continuing to make it beautiful.
All right. Thank you. All right, Ms. Kuski.
Hi.
Hi.
I am the president of the North Avondale Neighborhood Association, and we are supporters of the new school and their efforts. And yes, they have communicated, and I think everything that's said here is absolutely true. However, we still believe that there should be continuance so we could properly review it and respond, because there was improper notification from the city again. the green notice hearings were not properly mailed according to the zoning code. The postage date on them was marked 11/27/23, and the US stamp was also dated November 27th, and that's only 9 days. It's not the required 14 days. And we did check this on a green card with one of the neighbors who actually received it. So Nana receives theirs to a PO box, and the neighbors within 400 feet receive their cards directly. So again, here we are. Nana was not notified and not provided with sufficient time to review. So I got my card out of the PO box yesterday because someone had sent me a copy of it. So they didn't do the 9 days. We haven't had time to prepare or review. I think there's not a lot of issues because we have been in communication with the new school and they've been great about it, but there are still some outstanding questions that we don't understand. I also talked down with Cassandra about, she said, well, you're on the email notification, which I have not received one email from the Cages doc. So we didn't receive the documents until yesterday too. So I just feel like here we are in this situation again, that the city is not following the code or the law and makes it difficult for us to make a complete educated response. While we believe in the new school and we support the new school, we just want to make sure that all the questions are answered and that all the neighbors are represented, not just a few. We also want to talk a little bit about the conditional use. Reviewing the application, does it allow for a community learning center? North Avondale asserts that the staff report and the conditional approval must detail which of the under 1419-12 was permitted conditional uses, government facilities, offices, medical, professional, instructional, daycares, and all that. But what is the conditional use and where did they state what those are?
Okay, so yeah, a few things to unpack there. Let's start with just North Avondale Neighborhood Association does not believe that they have had a proper amount of time to review this application. They have outstanding questions and are requesting a continuance to try to gather that information and to get those questions answered. Is that correct? Yes. And they do not believe that you can properly address any of those questions or gather that information at this hearing? Or is it something where you feel like you need to take it back to the larger group?
Well, we feel like we need to get the questions answered and take them back, but we got to formulate what the questions are, because yesterday I did a quick review of a few of the neighbors, and meaning they're not the membership of the organization is not unified, or we haven't come to a question, and maybe we're never going to, but I just feel like we haven't been given enough time to. So we didn't understand and know about the garden plans. And I think it's all great, but I think a lot of the neighbors still have some outstanding, like, what does this mean long-term? What does this mean long-term? What's it going to mean a year from now? What's it going to mean 10 years from now? You know, because there's a lot of building going on there. I think people are just kind of nervous about it. Not everybody, but I mean, certainly, I think I cannot say that the new school has not reached out to us and to everybody, but I don't feel like this conditional use has been sufficiently addressed, what it means to us, what it means long-term. And that's where I think we're missing.
Sure. Let me give Mr. Groh an opportunity to respond to that. Mr. Groh.
The only thing I wanted to add was that one of the ways that the new school is communicating with a large group of neighbors that go beyond Burton Woods Lane is by providing information to a a representative to the neighborhood who then disseminates the information. When we applied for our variance through the city, we took it upon ourselves to reach out back in, I believe, October to the representative of Burton Woods to share that information with the broader community in that email chain for North Avondale residents in this area.
But not,
October.
but not the organization.
Mr. Grow,
October
Mr. Grove.
23.
Mr. Grow.
Yeah.
Have you shared your plans that are a part of this application for the garden with the North Avondale Neighborhood Association?
Yes.
When did that occur?
I just texted you the date, Jeff. It was at the NANA meeting on April 12th, 2022.
Was that
And-
was more about, if I remember that, I kind of feel like that meeting. So it was when I first came into my position, and that meeting was kind of a lot going on, if everybody remembers. That was anyway, and that was more about the building that you were building, right? The addition, or that building that you're building where the church was that was demolished. It wasn't really about the garden, but however, I do agree that the new school has reached out to us about their plans for the garden, but we just don't feel like we have proper notification to understand the conditional use and how to get prepared for this hearing. So I kind of feel like, we got 3/4 of the way there, I guess it was in the spring, or maybe it was this time last year. But now that all of a sudden here we are at the hearing, and we don't have anything in our hands. And I guess I just feel like, I don't know who's would be responsible for that. But I mean, communicating with the residents is not the same as communicating with the organization. I don't know how that happened. And the city definitely didn't notify us.
We do have documented in the minutes from that NANA meeting that we did review 33 Burton and the plans for the garden.
I can tell you the conditional use is limited to an expansion of a school use on the 33 Burton Woods property, and it would be limited to the expansion of the school use would be limited to the plans that are in the application, and so they wouldn't be able to build a new building or really change that property or augment that property to a different type of learning or school use without having to come back through the zoning process. So what's in the plans is what the future of this would be, unless they wanted to come back through. Again, I don't know if that helps at all with your desire for a continuance, but I just want to sort of make that clear as well. And so, but you are in fact requesting a continuance for this to take it to NAN.
Yes.
So, yeah, I did talk to my administrative assistant, Cassandra, yesterday when Ms. Kuski brought to her attention that the post marking on the cards that went out did say the 27th, which is below our 2-week standard. They were dropped in our postal delivery place on the 22nd. I believe that something involving the holiday delayed that, unfortunately. So I think from a strictly technical perspective, the postcards did not go out according to what the zoning code requires. So in an abundance of caution, I think I am going to grant this continuance so that those can be adequately complied with. I'm going to extend this though for 2 weeks. So please consider this notice that this will be back on for Wednesday, the 20th. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to need to double check that. I need to double check that date's available before I do it. But I'm to Mr. Grow and other members of the school, the board. I will try to get this back on the docket as quickly as possible. I will try to get it on before the end of the year and make sure that we're compliant with all of our notification requirements. Again, I apologize that happened. It is unusual, and I do believe that has something to do with the fact that we had 2 holidays on Thanksgiving and Black Friday that were the cause of the delay, unfortunately. Okay, so as soon as I receive, or as soon as I assign a new date, I will adjust the Zoom invite. So all of you should be receiving an email that will reflect the new date and time. I will be certain to call, email, whatever I need to do to make sure that Nana is aware of that date and time, and that will happen today. So it should satisfy the 2 weeks. If we can move it to the 20th. Otherwise, it may be a special day and not Wednesday. But is there any questions on any of that? I know that I was rambling there for a minute. Any questions or concerns about anything with the continuance?
This is Rosalie Van Els. My only concern is, Sarah, how would this be communicated? Do we have a NANA meeting in the second Tuesday of December?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually our holiday party, but I think probably what would be more efficient would be to have a special meeting and invite people that are interested in it to come to it. So we'll see. We can talk about that, but just want to make sure that all the people are noticed, because I think only Burton Woods Lane is having this discussion, not the rest of the neighborhood. Even though you are impacted the most, I mean, still more people.
Okay. Ms. Duncan, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question about the continuance procedure?
Well, not the continuance, but I wanted to be able to express my comments that were going on before. If you want me to wait until the 20th, that's fine, but some of them could be addressed now.
I think we're going to hold off. We have to, at the request of Nana, we have to pause the hearing now. It'll be continued in progress, and I won't take any more new testimony here today on the substance of the application. But hopefully you can join us for the next hearing. If not,
well, I hope so too, but that's unfortunate. I had some substantial comments, but okay, I'll be here next time.
Okay. If for any reason you can't make the next hearing, please submit your comments in writing so that they can be considered. Okay, and then we have—
That's a good idea. Yes.
Sure. We have our hand raised. Mr. Grow, did you have something you wanted to ask or add?
This is Ben Blaney. I live directly next to 33 Burton Woods Lane. And I'd just like to reiterate that the process that the city used to notify people about this meeting today was substantially flawed. The only reason I knew about it was that 2 postcards addressed to 33 Burton Woods Lane were put into my mailbox at 35 Burton Woods Lane, because I guess the carrier didn't know what else to do with them. And even though I applied on Monday for a Zoom connection to this call, I never received one.
Okay, I appreciate that feedback.
I would add that I'm at 34 Burton Woods Lane, and we never got a card either.
Okay, so yeah, and our process is completely automated. I appreciate that feedback. We're going to go back and take a look, a more in-depth look at exactly how these notifications went out and where those flaws were. I've noted 34 and 35. I'll make sure to Ms. Duncan. Did you say you also did not receive it? What's your address?
I'm at 34 Burton Woods. I'm Tom's wife. We did not receive a card.
Got it. Okay. Once our cards go out and they're in the post office hands, there's not much we can do about that. unfortunately, and it is an automated process. Whatever the owner's address in Cages is where these are directed. There's a radius depending on what the zoning district is. That's how it's 100% completely automated. So we will be sure to go ahead and take a closer look at that and make sure that these cards go out properly. But of course, if you're at 34 or 35, you're definitely within that radius, so you should have received a card. Ms. Van Nuys? Yeah.
Yes, so I was wondering what the radius is because I'm at number 1 and I didn't receive a card either. What I got was Ben Blaney sent an email to, we have a neighborhood block and he's sort of the keeper of the email list, and he sent it to everyone who's on that, and that's how I found out about it too. So I don't know if maybe number 1 doesn't count. Maybe you only do adjacent properties.
You said you're 1 Burton Woods?
Yeah, the school is 3, and then it jumps 1, 3, 29, 33.
So you are adjacent.
So I'll double check on the radius. I offhand, I believe it's 150 feet for SF10. It may be 200, it may be 100.
Then I wouldn't.
I can double check on that as well and present it at the next hearing. But of course, if you are across the street or next door or a couple doors down, you of course should have gotten a notice. So I will double check on that. And another reason why this case will be continued today. So thank you all again for your time, your testimony here today. I will update the Zoom invite to reflect the new date. So you all should just automatically get an updated Zoom invite. If for any reason in the next few days you do not hear from our office, please reach out to us and let us know that you have not received that Zoom invite so that we can update that for you. And of course, to Nana, I will make sure, since you haven't been receiving the emails from Cages, I will make sure that we triple check that you all are aware of the new date and have time to prepare. Any other questions or concerns before we leave? Okay. All right. Thank you all again. You'll hear from us soon.